Alexandra Reeves winced as her stiletto heel caught in the plush carpet of the 42nd floor, nearly sending her tumbling in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows that displayed Chicago's magnificent skyline. As the newly appointed CEO of Horizon Enterprises, a multinational publishing company, she couldn't afford to look anything less than completely in control even when she was hopelessly lost in her own headquarters. "This is ridiculous," Alex muttered to herself, glancing at her watch. She had 15 minutes to find the executive boardroom for her first quarterly meeting as CEO. Having spent the last 8 years in the London office, she was still learning her way around the Chicago headquarters, a sprawling, 70-story architectural marvel that she now managed. She turned down yet another identical corridor, her frustration mounting. The building's sleek, minimalist design was aesthetically pleasing but offered few landmarks for navigation. Her assistant had called in sick that morning, leaving Alex to find her own way through the labyrinth. After trying 3 more wrong turns, she spotted a man kneeling by an electrical panel in the wall, tools spread neatly on a cloth beside him. His broad shoulders filled out his navy uniform perfectly, and even from behind, she could tell he was methodically working through whatever problem he was fixing. "Excuse me," Alex called, relief washing over her. "I'm a bit turned around. Could you direct me to the executive boardroom?" When he turned, Alex found herself momentarily speechless. The property manager, at least that's what his embroidered tag indicated, had the most startlingly blue eyes she'd ever seen, set in a face that looked like it could have been carved from marble. His 5 o'clock shadow only enhanced his strong jawline, and when he smiled, Alex felt her heart skip a beat. "You must be Miss Reeves," he said, standing to his full height of what had to be at least 6'3". "I'm Sebastian Zane, head of property management for the building." "The executive boardroom is actually on the 45th floor, not 42nd. Alex felt her cheeks warm with embarrassment. "Well, that explains a lot. I've been wandering around here for 20 minutes. "It happens to everyone in the beginning," Sebastian assured her, gathering his tools with efficient movements. "This building has a way of confusing even those who have worked here for years. I'd be happy to show you the way." "That would be tremendously helpful," Alex said, trying to regain her composure. "I'm supposed to be leading a meeting in." She glanced at her watch. 13 minutes. Sebastian smiled again, and Alex noticed a small dimple in his right cheek. "We'll have you there in 5, follow me." As they walked, Alex couldn't help but notice how confidently Sebastian moved through the space, nodding at various employees they passed. He clearly knew every inch of the building. "So you're the new CEO everyone's been talking about," Sebastian said as they stepped into the elevator. He pressed the button for the 45th floor. "Congratulations on the promotion." "Thank you," Alex replied, surprised he knew who she was. "I didn't realize the news had reached every department." Sebastian laughed, the sound warm and genuine. "In a building this size, news travels fast. Especially when it involves someone who managed to increase the London division's profit margin by 30% in just 3 years. Alex raised an eyebrow. "You've done your research." "I like to know who I'm working for," he replied simply. "This building houses over 5,000 employees, but at the end of the day, we're all part of the same team." The elevator doors opened to the 45th floor, and Sebastian led her down a corridor that looked almost identical to the one they'd just left. "Here we are," he said, stopping outside an imposing set of double doors. "The executive boardroom." "Thank you, Sebastian," Alex said sincerely. "You've saved me from making a rather embarrassing entrance." "Anytime," he replied. "And if you ever need help navigating again, just call the property management office. We're here to make your job easier." As Alex watched him walk away, she felt an unexpected flutter in her stomach. Shaking it off, she straightened her blazer and pushed open the doors to meet her executive team. She had a company to run. There was no time to be distracted by a handsome property manager, no matter how helpful he might be. The meeting ran longer than expected, and by the time Alex left the boardroom, it was well past 7 in the evening. The office floor was nearly deserted, only the soft hum of cleaning equipment in the distance breaking the silence. She made her way to the elevator, her mind still racing with all the information she'd absorbed during the marathon session. When the elevator doors opened on the ground floor, Alex was surprised to find Sebastian in the lobby, reviewing some documents with the night security guard. "Miss Reeves," he said, looking up with that same warm smile. "Long meeting." "Incredibly," Alex sighed, rolling her shoulders to release the tension. "And please call me Alex." "Alex," he repeated, and she liked the way her name sounded in his deep voice. "Heading home." "That was the plan, but I just realized I left some important files in my office," she admitted. "I should probably go back and get them." "I was just heading up to check on the HVAC system on your floor," Sebastian said. "I can walk you there if you'd like." Alex hesitated only momentarily before nodding. "That would be great, actually. I'm still learning the layout." They rode the elevator in comfortable silence, and Alex found herself stealing glances at Sebastian's profile. In the soft evening light of the elevator, his features looked even more striking. "So, how long have you been managing this building?" she asked as they stepped out onto the executive floor. "Almost 7 years," Sebastian replied, falling into step beside her. "I started in maintenance and worked my way up." "Impressive," Alex said, genuinely meaning it. "You must know every inch of this place." Sebastian chuckled. "Just about. I could probably navigate it blindfolded by now." They reached her office, and Alex quickly retrieved the files she needed. As they walked back to the elevator, Sebastian pointed out various features of the floor that she hadn't noticed before emergency exits. The location of the executive lounge, even a small terrace that offered spectacular views of the city. "I had no idea that existed," Alex said, peering through the glass doors at the terrace. "Most people don't," Sebastian replied. "Would you like to see it? The view of the city at night is incredible." Against her better judgment, Alex found herself nodding. Sebastian held the door open for her, and they stepped out into the cool evening air. Chicago spread out before them, a glittering tapestry of lights against the night sky. "Wow," Alex breathed, moving to the railing. "This is spectacular." "It's my favorite spot in the whole building," Sebastian admitted, joining her at the railing. "Sometimes at the end of a long day, I come up here just to clear my head." Alex turned to look at him, struck by the sincerity in his voice. "I can see why. Thank you for sharing it with me." For a moment they stood in silence, watching the city below. Then Sebastian checked his watch and stepped back from the railing. "I should let you get home," he said. "It's getting late." "Of course," Alex replied, suddenly aware of how much time had passed. "And you probably have more work to do." "Always," Sebastian said with a smile. "But it was nice taking a break with you, Alex." As they rode the elevator back down to the lobby, Alex found herself wishing the ride was longer. There was something about Sebastian that intrigued her: his quiet confidence, his evident passion for his work, the way he seemed to see her as a person, not just the CEO. "Well, good night," she said as they reached the lobby, "and thank you again for your help today." "Anytime," Sebastian replied. "I'm always around if you need anything." As Alex stepped into the waiting car outside, she couldn't help but glance back at the towering building. For the first time since moving to Chicago, she found herself looking forward to returning to the office tomorrow. Over the next few weeks, Alex found herself running into Sebastian more often than seemed coincidental. He was always professional, always helpful, but she couldn't ignore the warmth in his eyes when he saw her or the way her heart raced when he smiled. One rainy Tuesday afternoon, Alex was struggling with several large presentation boards when she literally bumped into Sebastian near the service elevator. "Whoa, careful there," he said, steadying her before the boards could topple. "Need some help?" "Desperately," Alex admitted, blowing a stray strand of hair out of her face. "I need to get these to the conference room on 38 for a client presentation, but apparently the main elevators are too crowded for these unwieldy things." "The service elevator is your best bet," Sebastian agreed, taking several of the boards from her. Let me help you. As they rode down in the service elevator, Alex found herself studying Sebastian's profile again. In casual conversation with other staff, she'd learned that he was not only respected but genuinely liked throughout the building. The maintenance staff spoke highly of his fairness and work ethic, while the executive assistants raved about his responsiveness whenever there was an issue. What? Sebastian asked, catching her staring. Nothing, Alex said quickly, feeling her cheeks warm. I've heard good things about you around the building. Now it was Sebastian's turn to look slightly embarrassed. I just try to do my job well. From what I've heard, you do it exceptionally well, Alex replied. The building management team is lucky to have you. The elevator doors opened and they stepped out onto the 38th floor. Sebastian helped her set up the presentation boards in the conference room, arranging them exactly as she instructed. Perfect, Alex said when they finished. You're a lifesaver. Happy to help, Sebastian replied, his blue eyes catching hers. Good luck with your presentation. As he turned to leave, Alex found herself calling out, Sebastian, he paused at the door. Yes, would you? She hesitated, then pushed forward. Would you like to grab coffee sometime, just to talk about the building, of course? I should probably know more about it since I technically manage it. Sebastian's smile lit up his entire face. I'd like that very much. How about tomorrow morning? There's a great little cafe across the street. Tomorrow morning sounds perfect, Alex replied, trying to contain her excitement. Say 8 o'clock. 8 it is, Sebastian confirmed. I'll meet you in the lobby. After he left, Alex tried to focus on preparing for her client meeting, but her thoughts kept drifting to tomorrow's coffee date, not date. She corrected herself. Just a professional discussion about the building. But when 8 o'clock the next morning arrived and Alex spotted Sebastian waiting in the lobby, dressed in dark jeans and a blue button-down shirt that made his eyes even more striking, she knew this was more than just a professional discussion. The cafe was cozy and relatively quiet for that time of morning. They found a table by the window and after ordering, fell into easy conversation. So, how did you end up in property management? Alex asked, genuinely curious. Sebastian cradled his coffee mug between his hands. I actually started out in construction after college. My dad was a contractor and I grew up on job sites. But after a few years, I realized I was more interested in how buildings operated after they were built, rather than the building process itself. That's fascinating, Alex said. So you made the switch to property management. Eventually, Sebastian nodded. I went back and got my master's in facilities management while working maintenance jobs. It was a long road, but I love what I do now. It shows, Alex said. Everyone in the building speaks highly of you. Sebastian looked pleased but slightly uncomfortable with the praise. What about you? How does someone become the CEO of a major publishing corporation by 33? Alex laughed. A lot of late nights, some good timing, and maybe a bit of luck. She took a sip of her coffee before continuing. I started in marketing at Horizon right out of college. When they needed someone to help turn around the failing London office, I volunteered. Everyone thought I was crazy. It was considered a career killer. But you succeeded, Sebastian said, his eyes warm with admiration. We succeeded, Alex corrected. I had an amazing team. When the previous CEO announced his retirement, I threw my hat in the ring without really expecting anything. I think I surprised everyone, including myself, when the board selected me. I don't think it was that surprising, Sebastian said softly. From what I've heard, you're exactly what the company needed. The conversation flowed easily from there, moving from their careers to their interests outside of work. Sebastian was an avid rock climber and volunteered teaching kids about building and architecture on weekends. Alex shared her love of photography and her goal to visit all 7 continents. She had 2 left. Before they knew it, an hour had passed, and they both reluctantly checked the time. I should get back, Alex said, though she was loath to end their conversation. Me too, Sebastian agreed, but this was nice, really nice. It was, Alex said, meeting his eyes. Maybe we could do it again sometime. Sebastian's smile was answer enough. Definitely. As they walked back to the building together, their hands brushed accidentally, sending a current of electricity up Alex's arm. She wondered if Sebastian felt it too, but before she could dwell on it, they were in the lobby, surrounded by employees arriving for the day. "Thank you for coffee," Alex said, suddenly aware of the curious glances from the staff. "The pleasure was all mine," Sebastian replied, his voice low. "Have a good day, Alex." "You too, Sebastian," she said, stepping into the elevator with a smile she couldn't suppress. Their coffee meetings became a regular occurrence over the next few weeks, sometimes in the morning before work, other times during lunch breaks. Alex learned that Sebastian had grown up in a small town in Wisconsin, had two older sisters who constantly teased him, and that his dream was to eventually develop sustainable, eco-friendly commercial buildings. Sebastian, in turn, discovered Alex's passion for supporting literacy programs, her secret talent for making incredible homemade pasta, and her terrible fear of spiders that had once caused her to evacuate her entire London apartment at 2 a.m. What had started as professional curiosity had clearly developed into something more, but neither of them had crossed that line yet. Alex was acutely aware of how it might look the CEO dating the property manager. She didn't care about the perceived status difference, but she worried about putting Sebastian in an uncomfortable position. The situation came to a head when a major storm hit Chicago, causing flooding in parts of the building. Alex had stayed late to finish a presentation when Sebastian knocked on her office door, looking exhausted but determined. "Sebastian," Alex said, concerned by his appearance. "What's wrong?" "Nothing serious," he assured her, though his soaked shirt and disheveled hair told a different story. "But we've had some flooding in the lower parking levels. The maintenance team is handling it, but I wanted to let you know personally." "Is everyone safe? Is there anything I can do to help?" Alex asked, already standing and gathering her things. Sebastian looked surprised, then grateful. "Everyone's safe, but an extra pair of hands wouldn't hurt if you're offering." Without hesitation, Alex kicked off her heels and slipped on the flats she kept in her office. "Lead the way." For the next 3 hours, Alex worked alongside Sebastian and the maintenance crew, moving stored items to higher ground, setting up industrial fans, and coordinating with affected employees about their vehicles. She didn't care that her expensive suit was getting soaked or that her perfectly styled hair was now plastered to her forehead. She was part of the team. By midnight, they had the situation under control. The maintenance crew had headed home, leaving just Alex and Sebastian in the now quiet parking garage. "You didn't have to stay," Sebastian said, looking at her with something akin to wonder in his eyes. "Most executives would have just asked to be kept updated." "I'm not most executives," Alex replied, wringing water from the bottom of her blazer. "And this is my building too. I wasn't going to leave you all to handle it alone." Sebastian stepped closer, his eyes never leaving hers. "You're remarkable, Alex Reeves." The way he said her name sent a shiver through her that had nothing to do with her wet clothes. "So are you, Sebastian Zane." They stood there for a moment, the air between them charged with everything unsaid. Then Sebastian slowly raised his hand to her face, gently brushing a wet strand of hair behind her ear. "I've been wanting to do this for weeks," he murmured, his voice low. "But I wasn't sure if it would complicate things for you." Alex leaned slightly into his touch. "Some complications are worth it," she whispered. When Sebastian's lips finally met hers, Alex felt as though all the electricity in the building had somehow redirected itself into that one perfect connection. His kiss was gentle yet confident, his hand cradling her face as if she were something precious. She reached up to grip his shoulders, steadying herself against the wave of emotion that threatened to overwhelm her. When they finally pulled apart, both slightly breathless, Sebastian rested his forehead against hers. "I've been falling for you since the day you got lost trying to find the boardroom," he admitted. Alex laughed softly. "And I've been falling for you since you rescued me that day." "So where do we go from here?" Sebastian asked, his thumbs tracing gentle circles on her arms. "I don't know exactly," Alex answered honestly, "but I want to find out if you do." Sebastian's response was to kiss her again, more deeply this time, leaving no doubt about his feelings. They agreed to take things slowly, both aware of the potential complications their relationship could create in the workplace. But over the next few months, they discovered that their professional lives actually benefited from their personal connection. Alex gained invaluable insights into the operational aspects of the building she managed, while Sebastian found in Alex a partner who respected and valued his expertise. They kept their relationship relatively private at first, though rumors inevitably began to circulate. 6 months after their first kiss in the flooded parking garage, they decided to make it official, informing HR and Alex's board of directors about their relationship. To their relief, the response was overwhelmingly positive. As one board member put it, "We hired you to run this company because you make good decisions, Alex. From what we've seen of Sebastian, this appears to be one of your best." A year into their relationship, Sebastian proposed on the very terrace where he'd first shown her the Chicago skyline. He'd arranged for it to be decorated with hundreds of tiny lights and candles, recreating the city view in miniature. "This building brought us together," he said, down on one knee with a vintage emerald ring in his hand. "And I want to build a life with you, Alex. Will you marry me?" Through tears of joy, Alex pulled him to his feet. "Yes," she whispered against his lips. 1,000 times yes. They were married 6 months later in a ceremony that perfectly reflected their journey, elegant yet unpretentious, attended by executives and maintenance staff alike. Alex's father walked her down the aisle to where Sebastian waited, looking at her with such love that several guests were moved to tears before the ceremony even began. 2 years after their wedding, Sebastian's dream of developing eco-friendly commercial buildings became a reality when Horizon Enterprises created a new division focused on sustainable real estate, with Sebastian at the helm. The first project, renovating their very own headquarters to become one of the greenest skyscrapers in the Midwest. On the 5th anniversary of the day they met, Alex found herself once again lost in the building, this time deliberately led astray by Sebastian, who had planned a surprise celebration on the now famous terrace. As they sipped champagne and watched the sunset over Chicago, their 2-year-old daughter Emily played happily at their feet, building towers with wooden blocks. "Did you ever imagine this is where getting lost would lead you?" Sebastian asked, wrapping his arm around Alex's waist. Alex leaned into his embrace, watching as Emily carefully balanced another block on her tower. "Never," she admitted, "but I'm so glad I took that wrong turn." "Best wrong turn ever," Sebastian agreed, kissing her temple. As the Chicago skyline lit up around them, Alex reflected on how a simple moment of being lost had led her to find everything she never knew. She was looking for a partner who challenged and supported her, a family that brought her immeasurable joy, and a love that made even the most ordinary days extraordinary. From CEO and property manager to husband and wife, their journey had been unexpected but perfect in its own way. And as they stood together on the terrace where their story had truly begun, Alex knew with absolute certainty that sometimes getting lost was the only way to find exactly where you were meant to be.